I can't believe you're a millionaire. How did that happen?
I used to hate Asmongold. Look at that silly smug face. And just hear the condescending way he gives his commentary. He looks like the type of guy that would walk into a room as if he's the baddest mommy fondler in there, whilst carrying the posture of someone that's on his way to an orphanage Christmas tree to go see if there's anything worth taking. Thinny hair that makes me comfortable with my own, and those clickbait, cliche reaction face thumbnails. My
Cool
goodness.
story, bro. But who exactly is this Asmongold, and why should we give a fudge knuckle?
Yeah, I hear you, totally legitimate person. And I'm glad, no, I'm not glad he asked, because that means I'm gonna have to give background on someone I would assume is bacon famous, and I'm really lazy when it comes to these things, so let's half-ass speedrun this. Asmongold, aka Zach, is a well-known American Twitch streamer and YouTuber. That's right, little Timmy. He plays games for a living, and a good living at that. I'll explain the quote marks later. He gained his fame primarily through his content focused on the online role-playing game known as World of Warcraft. Asmongold started his online career by creating YouTube videos in 2009 and began actively streaming on Twitch in 2014. He is best known for his engaging gameplay, comprehensive guides related to World of Warcraft, and insight. And oh my goodness, ChatGPT, stop simping on Asmon. Damn, trying to do an insult bit. That's what you get for trying to half-ass a piece of your script with AI. Oh, and don't worry if you think any of these things would offend him if he would ever see this. If I've learned anything from Asmongold, he views people kind of similar, and he's not a hypocrite in that sense. Okay, you have the law, now it's time for the plot. I'm not one of those type of guys that get annoyed by public figures easily. I mean, look at Justin Bieber, for example. Everyone used to hate on that guy. I don't know if they still do or whatever, but I never really cared much for him. He was never a blip on my radar because he does not make the music I listen to. And I don't listen to radio because why would you listen to a playlist put together by someone for the chance of something you might mediocre like versus just having a playlist of your own music? I mean, it's a 20th century. Do better. But I digress. But what annoyed me so much about Asmongold is he's very much popular in the category of stuff I enjoy, and I literally just answered my previous question. So YouTube, knowing me so well, kept suggesting his mug nails to me, and I simply could not stand the way he carried himself. Judging a book by its cover and all that, he just looks like the type of guy that is everything that I am not. Well, what made it worse was the fact that I had this co-worker that's been a fan of Asmongold. Asmongold. It's probably a joke that's been made, but anyways. He would come across the clips and he was like, man, check this guy, look what he says about this. And it's like, why would I give a dog's foofy what this boss author has to say about anything? And he's not my tempo.
Not quite my tempo.
Plus, I was scared to even utter his name out of fear of, you know, peeping Tom here, even hearing me whisper his name, of fear of getting any motivation to keep suggesting his content. But that co-worker is nothing if not persistent, and eventually he got smart. He's like, okay, just come watch his stuff here on my screen. I'll just show the bit I want you to see. And I mean, that made me look at it, and the comment Asmongold would make is very well thought out. It's suspiciously so. The first thing I can recall that I watched of Asmongold, where I was like, okay, yeah, that was pretty fun to watch, was one of his mount offs.
I don't know how hard I should get. Get on this one right here. Hold.
Still seems smug as hell, but it was entertaining. So that was that. And over time, and probably from overexposure, I kind of got used to his thumbnails, if I could say that. As time went on, he's all good and well, I don't really care much. I saw how much he's into reaction content, and I was still so young and naive on the concept of reaction content, because the ones you would generally get is, you know, these ones. That's just adds no value to it. Hey, maybe I should do a reaction on a reaction video's reactions. A it's already been done. But as was the public conception, this is the primary example of what these reaction videos would consist of. So obviously I threw Asmongold in this same category of, you know, he just does that. But his reaction content was different. It was, say for example, if the video he's reacting to is 15 minutes, his take would be 30 to 40 minutes long. You know, because he really adds more content. He would play it, he would stop it, and he would give commentary, and very well thought out commentary. So he made it his own video out of his own inputs, and that's where his stuff came differently. But like I mentioned, it was suspiciously so. It wasn't until I watched, it was a steak and egg podcast. They did like a tour of his house, where Miru drops this line.
Used to the smell. Well, it smells like old house, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't smell like trash or rotting anything, honestly.
Where it all just kind of came together to me. Okay, so I might be reaching a bit here, but when I used to be a real estate agent, I actually used to be a lot of things. I really struggled finding my place in this world. Still do. Anyways. As you would guess, being a real estate agent and being one year in Africa, you get to see a lot of places, a lot of spaces, and you know, you see homes, offices, occupied, unoccupied, and just outright.
Oh, senpai.
Anyways, sorry. When she describes that smell, I got a flashback from a certain property that I would describe in exactly the same way. And what she describes there is a space that is void of human living, if that makes sense. Humans are disgusting. We shed, we have oils and moistures, and most of those things are accompanied by smell. They are accompanied by smell. That's why all houses have a distinct smell to the person. But what she describes is a space that is usually what you would find offices smell like, and well, even less occupied storage spaces. It doesn't have the moisture of someone living in there, and that's when it kind of came together. That is not his house. That is his office in a storage space. He goes there to work. He most likely lives in the other house. He goes there to like do his literally his job. If you look at his fridge, for example, the food in there, all of those things are stuff that can just generally be in a fridge. It's not the fridge of someone that actually utilizes it. The food he takes out is something he bought specifically for that occasion. I'm very sure his origin is very much genuine. But I believe he has evolved from playing games in his mother's basement, attic. What do you Americans call that? We don't have neither, so man, our houses are built and practical around here. I believe his life has evolved from simply playing games in his attic as he became more popular and his life started demanding more of him, and again, more responsibilities, more consequences of being popular. And the thing I believe why his reaction content is superior to others is I suspect he knows what he's going to watch. He pre-watches them and goes to make a quick read up on certain things that are mentioned in there in order to have a more constructive feedback, like better commentary. And I'm even sometimes suspicious of his comments, although this one you can easily prove me wrong on, but he's got a lot of naysayers, a lot more than any other streamer. If you look at any streamer, if they would make a point, they've got a fan base that just like supports them in everything they do. Asmongold just constantly have naysayers. Everything he has to kind of give an additional reason. It gives more quality to the content, so I love that it's there, but I just find that suspicious.
I love this. You're getting farmed, bro? I know. I have no problem being part of the garden. Sometimes I'm the farmer, sometimes I'm the crop.
Now, don't get me wrong, even if all my suspicions are true, it's not a bad thing, nor is it something to frown upon. It's still his own content he makes. It just means that he does a bit more prep before he does. He doesn't simply just sit and wing it. And it makes for good content. So that's why it might not always be your cup of tea. But it's quality. It might not be your cup of tea, but it's quality. I'm very sure he makes notes, just little dots, and he just fills the gaps with stuff. But it's not completely generic. I can almost guarantee you. But it still takes a lot to put together. It's another level of genius to always have that deep knowledge on every subject, especially for someone that just plays games the whole day. If you would just sit down and start generically streaming, you might even be a really intellectual person having information about just being smart overall. You're never going to have that many things in the chamber ready for quick responses unless you're literally a genius. And that's the big difference between scripting and winging something. I mean, any indiscriminate individual possesses the capacity to articulate themselves with profound sagacity and scintillating repartee, given enough temporal allotment. See how smart that made me sound? I didn't wing that. That sentence took me a good 20 minutes to write. It's an unironic sesquipedalian sentence that basically means anyone can sound like a smartass if you give enough time for them to write a little sentence down. It took me 20 minutes to write this thing and even more to memorize. I guess what I'm coming at is if you think you're just gonna sit at a computer and play games for a living and people are just gonna watch you, it doesn't work like that. There's a lot of work that goes into these and goes for all of these creators. Like television, everything's scripted. Even the reality, especially the reality shows, all of those things are hectically scripted because life is boring. Even stories that's based on people. It's based on a true story. It's very loosely, it's inspired by those things didn't really happen to that person, especially not in those orders ever. It's really crazy when you get into it. But for example, Asmongold, don't get me wrong. Like I said, even if all these things I'm saying are true, it's nothing to frown upon because he makes good content. Whilst working on this video, I watched a lot of Asmongold's more latest stuff and he's been seeming stressed lately. So obviously there's things happening in his life and I really hope it's nothing too serious and that you can power through it. I always think if a dude struggles with it, I always get this meme in my head of a male depression. And whatever it is, it sucks that you can't really speak as yourself to your audience, although I don't know if that would help in a sense, but whatever it is, I hope you get to power through it. And yeah, the internet needs you. You make good content.
Hello there, post-production Rouxkat here. Oh, what's supposed to be me just speaking my mind on a little thing I found sus on Asmongold caused me digging to make this a lot more intriguing than I'd initially thought. And if there's a demand for people that want to know more, you're welcome to let me know in the comments, because there's so many subtopics that I'm not even touching on. My email should also be down here. You can just send me a mail, even if you would like to contribute yourself. If you've got any of your own findings or things, you're welcome to mail that to me and then we can see if we can set a video together. If there's a demand, I was not really planning on really pursuing this further, so supply and demand all comes down to you. Anyway, let's finish this video. Bye!
Ooh, and also, if Asmongold would watch this is one final question I would like to ask that you give to your peeps, is if you would wake up today, or tomorrow, or whatever, as a nobody, a random guy that has very similar situation to you, a house and stuff that allows you to play games, you've got access to a computer to play games, would you be able to achieve what you have today if you had to start from scratch? As a nobody, you don't have any assistance from anyone, you can't use you have to start from scratch and you build yourself up. Would you be able to achieve where you are today again?
I understand that my role in the community is something like the Lich King. I also hate black people, gay people, trans people, all minorities, disabled people, and that's awesome